Welcome back to the Soulful Eclectic. So we had the first part of Jermaine Shoulders' testimony, is what I'm going to call it, because he has such a great story. So now we're going to wrap up with the second part as he tells us how he started writing Shades of Violence, Colors of a Survival, a stage play, and how that he's going to finish telling us honestly how that came to play.
Yeah, so as I was saying, that was the first long form script I had written in years and years, and actually at that time when she commissioned me to do it, she loved it. She loved the script. She loved it, and it immediately brought her to tears. And she asked me, "How did I know?" Because she didn't tell me very much about her life, other than that, and I said, I didn't. I just did some research as any writer would do. I didn't. I know I wasn't in that environment. I just used education to figure it out.
Right.
And so and the amazing thing about it, how I knew that this was where I was supposed to be. And so since 2013, I haven't stopped writing since. And that was confirmation for me from source, from spirit, from God. This is what you're supposed to be doing, because everybody that has read that script, especially women, have had a story to tell.
Hey,
based on what they read.
Absolutely. When I just did the audition for Janice and I was reading it and I was literally coming to tears like, "Oh my God. Like this is real. This is life. This is everything that I've talked about with other women who have come on the podcast. It's part of my life. I've been blessed not to have the violent part of it, but you bring out a very real piece of it that violence, domestic violence comes in all forms. It's not always just the physical that is always the last part. If you don't take yourself out of the situation, it will eventually evolve to that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
that is it right there. And that's the piece that people don't understand, that just because you knew enough to get yourself out of the situation before it got to that, it still is classified as domestic violence. Mental, physical, financial, emotional, it's all classified under there. and
It's
you
all about.
and you capture that.
Oh, thank you.
You
Thank you.
capture that.
And that was the goal. The goal was to do just that. And without really, like I said, firsthand knowledge would have been even more dynamic. But I think that not having the firsthand knowledge, but really just diving in and listening to the stories, because she opened up right after she read it. She started telling me all kinds of stuff. And that's where you get some of the dialogue from. She is Janice. And I definitely modeled that character after her, and she knew it, because she was like, "I'm Janice, huh?" And I said, "Yes, you are." But today she's back in New Jersey, living her best life, having a great time. She's another East Coaster that came out here. She rose to the top of her game real quick, to run a whole department for Chase.
God bless her.
For a couple of years. Yeah. Then after a few years, she transitioned to a couple other businesses and realized Arizona wasn't for her. She went back east, and she's loving it. And she actually had someone kind of rewrite the play for her there, and they performed it there a couple years ago, I believe. And she changed the title and everything. She told me, and she said I can have the name and everything. So I was grateful for that. abstract, but I believe people will pick up on it.
Oh, absolutely.
And what it means. So that was it. And since then, I've just been creating original works through my own individual study. In my office here, I have at least 100 scripts that somehow found their way into my security guard jacket as I was patrolling the major studios. During when I put the pen down, during those, actually I was writing then too, but I was using different ways to try to get into the industry. So, and taking care of my family, hustling. I'm working 2 full-time jobs, and one of my full-time jobs was security guard. I worked at almost every major studio in Los Angeles as a security guard.
That's what's up.
All 3 shifts, depending on what my day job was, what my main job was, and in some cases that was my main job. I had 2, 3 security jobs at once. Once I got out of the cubicle life, so it was. I had a crazy up and down life. I'm sure as many people have ever had. And it's made me who I am today. Very resilient. Much more focused on what I want to do. Learning the business aspect of what I'm doing. But a lot of my writing, I intentionally add a piece of me in everything. And I think that's the heart that you feel.
Mm-hmm.
The love and the emotion and the grace, which I feel I bring to everything that I write, and hopefully it will translate once the audience sees it.
Mm-hmm.
And there are other works that I have coming out as well that have the same ingredient. I call what I do edutainment.
Yes.
I wasn't put on the planet to just keep people smiling and laughing. I was put on the planet to educate, to help realign us, with who we really are. And if that's through a story, then so be it. The ancients did it through proverbs and through telling stories as well, the oral tradition of our ancestors. So I'm just in that line. It's just this medium that I'm using that we have today, the technology. That's what it is. I'm in that line of the griot and the writer and the storyteller and the tradition bearer. I feel that that's what I'm here to do. And hopefully as I continue to align with myself in that manner, that it really translates through my art.
It is. It really is, because I have to say, if your writing is anything compared to what this is, you're honestly speaking into the universe, continue to speak it into the universe, is nothing but greatness, and it's just going to soar, because I can definitely feel the energy, the emotion that is in your writing. And I did read it, and honestly I did read it, and I'm like, oh my god, this is like this is every woman, every individual that I've talked to, this is encapsulated in this story, and it's amazing. So if all the other pieces that you have resembles this, it's nothing but greatness. You just gotta keep hustling and put it in the right hands, right?
Right. That's beautiful. I appreciate that. And breaking into Hollywood is not it. That was once a dream of mine. But as I got older, matured a little more, children got older, I decided being an employee is not what I want to do, and writing on staff and being beholden to a studio or under the rule of an EP, that I said, you know what, I'm a little more independent than that. Mm-hmm. So I'm striving now to create my own, as far as my own television network, where I have total control in putting out the work that I want to put out, mm-hmm. when I want to put it out, how I want to put it. No, it doesn't matter. Like, so I want to actually, put my business plan in the hand of an investor and just say, hey, trust me.
Right.
What I'm putting down, people ain't gonna be able to smell what Jermaine is cooking. You know what I'm saying? So,
yes, yes.
And that's, I want to, I have the ability to sell a dream, sell an idea, and I know that this will translate. I know it will translate, and I know by me being in control, by creating Mosaic Entertainment Group, which is my production company, it's just that. It's a spiritual head, which is the Mosaic. The entertainment aspect of it, but there's also an edutainment aspect of it where you learn something.
Yes.
And the goal is for you to learn something about yourself.
Yes.
Not about the world around you, not about the people next to you, but about you.
Right.
Where do you see yourself in the data?
That's it right there. But you know what? I want to say that this is, I know it's crazy to say, but this is like the prime time to even put that into motion, only because everything that we are talking about these days is about inclusiveness and diversity and increasing the look of the black and brown community and getting the black and brown community out there and being understood and respected, right, on all levels. So
Absolutely.
taking that, which Tyler Perry already started, taking it and elevating it, I think it's just going to continue to push and soar, and you're going to see that this is a great time to put that out there.
Absolutely. And as we see, Hollywood is losing its grip. People are all over the world deciding to write their own narratives. So we're going to see an explosion of creativity like we've never seen. You know what I mean? Because things are evolving. Things are changing rapidly. Aside from the COVID and things like that, when you look at society as itself, man, just globally, all the upheavals, everything, people are seeking to know the truth and are tired of being lied to, are tired of being controlled, are tired of being manipulated. What goes up must come down. What goes down must come back around again, where it all began. And that's where we are.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So everything is going right back to the beginning. And we're seeing, that's why what you said is so pivotal, because what we're seeing is the decay of the old and the end of the new and the beginning of the new. We're right at the precipice of that. Instead of having been living in it for a few centuries, we're at the beginning of it. So, hopefully we'll come back. If you believe in, regeneration, we'll come back where we're living in, this particular age. But I think it's an absolute blessing to be part of the beginning of this explosion, think about it. 100 years ago was the Harlem Renaissance, where you had this explosion of artistic and intellectual genius from the black and brown community, where all of this works of art was just coming out, especially the black community. Where, and we had such a story to tell, and we were telling it. Despite the lynchings, despite the hangings and the lynchings and everything that was going on at that time, we were exuberantly soaring through the cosmos, I like to say. And we're still, the words of our elders, I still quote Langston Hughes, I still quote County Cullen. And so many others, that come out of that tradition.
Nikki
and
Giovanni.
We're just going back to that time, but we're in the age of Aquarius now, so we're in the age of knowing. So it's a whole different ball game.
And which is, it's funny because you talked about how you always wanted to be in the industry since you were a kid, and I want to say, were very blessed to have a parent that fed that knowledge, fed that desire for you. So I commend your mom. I mean, that was amazing for her, because not everyone had that opportunity, and I'm just going to speak for self. I did not have that opportunity. So, you know, when you speak about that now at 45, I'm coming into that part of me that I had regressed for so long because it was one of those things. No, you're going to get a job that's going to make money to make you successful and do those things. So now I'm looking at life like, you know, hey, I can do this. Who says I can't? So now I'm doing the reverse of that and putting myself out there and doing that. So hearing your story and, you know, your continued strive is something that I want to share with the community because it's that resilience and that desire that I see what I want and I'm going to go for it because it's in me and I'm going to keep going.
Right. And what people need to remember and realize when they're on this journey is that it's not going to always be clear. You know,
Right.
it's not going to always, it's not like you have this yellow brick road laid in front of you that says, follow this path.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looks like that at the beginning, but then that road turns. And then there may be a 5-foot gap between the road and the next part of the road that you got to continue. So you got to find a way to leap over that mud. You know,
Right.
and you may have to find a. Sometimes you may have to stop and lay down and wait for that piece to come together on its own before you can continue. So it's truly a journey, and you just get to these points where you um, achieve something and you celebrate it. But I have a hard time literally like celebrating.
Yeah.
I'll acknowledge something and then because I don't feel like it's done. So that's why I keep going. But for the audience, um, yeah, my mom was very, she just supported me, whatever I wanted to do. She said, hey, that's what you want to do. She wasn't a rich woman by any stretch of the imagination. She had a dream too.
Mm-hmm.
That, and I believe that kind of propelled her when she saw I had that desire. She never put it in me to, some parents pressure their children, you know, oh, I think you can do this, so I'm going to put you in this and see what
Mm-hmm.
And if the child says, it's not what I want to do, the parent forces them, and this, that, and the third. That wasn't, my mother was a country girl, so everything was plain, very plain, you know what I mean? But she was intelligent,
Mm-hmm.
Moms had the best jobs. She came to the city and got the good city jobs, the good state jobs. So, I didn't want for much as a child, that's for sure. You know, I lived in the projects, but I wasn't of the projects,
Hey, and
And
say that again.
yeah, I lived in the projects, but I was not of the projects at all. That's why I always felt different. And I saw my friends become the projects. They were of the projects, some of them. But a majority of us, even at that time, as we talked about the generations earlier,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have my natural father in the house, but a lot of my friends did. Most of my friends had their dads in the home, and these were men who went out to work every day. So I would see Mr. Such and Such and Mr. Such and Such and Mr. Such and Such. We still lived at that time because we're the children of the civil rights era. So,
Right.
we still had that connection. We still had that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why most of us are successful today. Most of us is very successful today.
Mm-hmm.
Entrepreneurs, we're if we're professionals, we're very high in our professions.
Yes.
And we all come from shoot 'em up, bang bang,
Yes.
crack bottom in the streets. But our parents was putting it down, and we didn't realize it at the time. We just saw moms and pops going to work. We didn't see that they were laying the foundation for us until a lot of us started having kids a few years out of high school. So
Right. Right.
and that's when the lessons was solidified. But yeah, moms, she just supported me. Whatever I wanted to do, I wanted to do this. Funny story. I have a photo to this day of me at 3 years old, black and white, and I'm looking up. And I remember asking my mother years ago. My mom passed in 2010.
I'm sorry.
God rest her soul, through the bone cancer.
Mm,
But as a child, I asked her, I said, Mom, what was up with this picture? What was I looking at? And she gave me a smile. Little did I know, my mother did try to put me in the industry I was a toddler. I was about 3.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, I took you to an audition. This was the photo from the audition. And you were looking up at Bill Cosby.
Oh.
So, turns out, yes, my mother took me to a Jello pudding pop audition. We're talking 74. So
yes.
Was,
oh my
he had
gosh.
the big beard, and he had the big beard, and the Jello pudding pops, and he had a thing of wanting to meet everybody. Years later, I wound up auditioning for the Cosby Show. It's funny, several times. But as a child, he was, what a black man looked like in the 60s and 70s. He had a beard, he had a fro, but my mother said I was so frightened of this man with this big, huge beard. She said it was the beard. I think that frightened me. And I just started crying, and she was like, oh, no, let me take the boy out of here. Never mind. So, I wasn't like Rodney Allen Griffith. I wasn't like that guy. He was ready at his age, but I wasn't ready, But so I thought that was a funny story.
That is that.
Yeah, so I still got that picture to this day, and I told my kids, and everybody laughs at me. And it's interesting because they can look back on YouTube now and see some of my work. My youngest son came downstairs and was like, "Why didn't you tell me?" He was talking about this was last week. He was like, "You was on that show. And I look just like you." And I was like, "What show are you talking about, man?" And he showed me it was the last work that I did in 1994 for Tia.
Oh.
They found it on YouTube. My sister actually found it and sent it to my oldest son. And my oldest son sent it to his brother. And he came downstairs like, what? So it's good that they can look back and, see that when I was a youngster, that I was actually being productive. You know what I mean? I was actually doing stuff that people still marvel at. To me, it was nothing. I'm like, nothing.
Right.
Stand in front of a camera and perform, that was nothing. What else you want? I took it like that. I didn't take it as something big, but to them and to other people, it was like, wow, you did this. And, my friends would see me on the street, yo, was you in such and such? I thought I saw you in such and such. Is that you? And I'm like, well, yeah, that was me. Oh, man, yeah, I saw that, man. Hey, man, how'd you do that? That's you. And I'm sitting there like, easy. You're an agent. You auditioned. Get the job, that it was, but that's how I always took it, man. So that's my story.
Yeah, I mean, and that is an amazing story because, first of all, not a lot of people have that opportunity, and the fact that you took that opportunity and you continue to soar and rebuild. And one thing that we really want to share is that as you hear your story, you hear that you broke down, rebuild it, broke down. You still remained on that same journey. You still remained on that goal. You just changed the path you took to get there. You just changed how it looked a little bit, but the end goal is still the same. And that's the piece that a lot of youth don't get. They feel that, and we were talking about this just before we started, right? That if it doesn't work out the way they see it, that it was supposed to work out, then they just toss the plan altogether. Then it's not for me. It's not for me. I got to do something else. Instead of,
they quit right away.
Yeah, they quit. And that is something that I really want to share with the community. And that's why I said talking with you that day today, I mean, it just continues to resonate that tenacity and perseverance is what is going to really keep us relevant, keep us who we are, keep us to our authenticity, right?
Yeah, believe in yourself. Like, I know it sounds corny and it sounds what a lot of people say it, but it is so I'm going to tell you, in my darkest days, working security in the middle of the night, sitting in my van because I had to use my van as part of my job to drive around and patrol. I'm sitting up at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, wondering what the hell am I doing? Because I was still listening, and this is what I want the audience to really pay attention to. Listen to that voice in the back of your head.
Mm-hmm.
That is the universe speaking to you. It didn't matter what I was doing, how tired I was, how depressed I was. And yes, I'm a man, but I will say how many tears I've cried. Okay? Because the desire was that strong, but everything in my life was not allowing that desire to come forth. So there will be times where you'll be hanging on by the thinnest thread that you can hang on by the barest of your tippy fingertips. But you do not let go.
Mm-mm.
Do not let go. If this, just as I told Diana, told you, Diana, since 12 or 13, I'm 48. Okay? Raised and still raising 4 children. Have a grandchild. Worked in many corporations. I work in a corporation today. But I never, ever, 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 even when I didn't believe I could do it, stopped because I said, I have to keep trying. I just have to see. I have to see. I have to. I can't. So I didn't cry to stop.
Mm-hmm.
I cried to keep going.
Yes.
I cried because I didn't want to let it go because I became afraid to let it go because it wouldn't let me go.
Right. You're right.
If it won't let me go, then that's what I'm supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Show me the way. It ain't going to always come. Like we said, it's not going to come the way you think.
No.
I never even thought about podcasts. I didn't think I'd be speaking to you today. I'm trying to be a television writer. I'm trying to be a writer. This is another path. Mm-hmm. This is another way. And it's more than me just being a writer. That's just, one of the talents I was gifted with. I see beyond that talent and that ability. And that's what I want people to realize, man. It's really about you.
Yeah. It's about you.
It's about you. And if you're the type to just quit when you say you can't do it, you're absolutely correct.
Yep.
And when you say you can, you're absolutely correct.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I remember growing up as a kid when we used to say you can't. My mother used to say, go look it up in the dictionary. Go look it up. Is it there? Right? Nope. It's not in there. It's not in there. So why is it part of your vocabulary?
That's powerful in itself right there.
Mm-hmm. And if you guys know, back then we had those giant unabridged dictionaries. So I don't know if it was because I got tired of looking for it, I couldn't find it, or it actually wasn't in there.
With the red letters, the big giant.
The big giant dictionary.
Yep.
Oh man, that unabridged dictionary. It's like, where did you get this thing?
Man, those are the days when we had to go to the library and use reference materials.
Yes.
They don't know what that is.
They have no idea. The card catalog, you're rifling through looking for reference numbers.
Yep.
Like,
you gotta find that number, then you write the number down, go get the book.
Then go find the book.
If you can't find it, go straight to the librarian if you can't find it.
That's right. And that was going to Grand Army Plaza, right?
Yep, in those days for me, it was I can't remember the name of the library now, but it was right near Kips Bay in the Bronx.
Oh.
Yeah, because I was a youngster in Brooklyn, and I left Brooklyn at 5, so I would go back and forth until I was about 10 or 11, and then once I hit those ages, I was like, I don't want to go back because it started getting real bad. Pink houses really started getting bad then. But,
oh yeah.
Yeah, so we stayed out the Bronx. We stayed out of Brooklyn for a while. We would only hit certain parts, but yeah, it was a library I would go to, and to even get albums.
Yes.
You could actually get albums out the library, and I would learn how to break dance and sing by getting certain albums until I was able to afford to buy my own albums, which I was actually. I was kind of lucky as a kid, I guess, but. As a teenager, hey, when you making TV and commercials, man, I was doing pretty good as a teenager.
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah, in comparison, I'm buying $300 leather jackets and gold chains, all kinds of shoes and boots and sweaters and stuff. But yeah, that was a time. That was a time.
Yeah.
But now, I'm blessed to still be here.
Mm-hmm.
Every day I take a breath, I feel good. I'm writing, incessantly. I've journaled almost every day since early 2014. I actually started journaling, right around that time, 2014.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually, in earnest, was journaling back in 03, 04, 05, 06, 07, because I wasn't writing scripts. So what I did was, because I do, and this is another thing for your audience, when I say it's you got to really know yourself and do whatever it takes to stay attached to that dream or that goal that you have. I wasn't able to bring myself to write a script, but I told myself, in order to become a good writer, I need to write every day. I need to be disciplined.
Mm.
So the way to do that was journaling. That was my way. I started journaling, and I would journal and journal. And sitting at my cubicle at the law firm, I was lucky enough to have my own printer. And because my handwriting is atrocious,
you didn't go to Catholic school, did you?
No, I did not. I went to the fine public school in New York City, but I didn't go to Catholic school.
I did.
I would have got my butt whooped for
oh
sure.
man, for sure. With that penmanship.
Penmanship. They don't know anything about that.
Nope.
That was the actual class, penmanship.
Yep.
Yep. And I would take my time in penmanship class, but because my mind moved at 1,000 miles an hour, so did my hands.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's how I would just, to this day, my family says, you write like that because you don't want us to read what you write. And I said, well, yeah, I kind of want you out of my head, yeah. But at the same time, should I pass away, I would like for this stuff to continue, because who knows how my progeny can learn from, the things that I've been through.
Absolutely.
So hopefully they'll be able to decipher it. I do my best, but when I'm journaling, I go. But I did spend an entire year typing a journal. That was a particularly trying year in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm actually, quiet as kept, turning that into a book. So,
nice.
I actually written the outline already.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm going to do some stuff with that. So I'm adding author to the, this will be my second book.
There it goes.
My first book was a how-to for screenwriters.
Uh-huh.
It's on sale now at Amazon.
There you go.
Yeah. It's called the Arizona Black Phoenician Writers Group Guide to Getting to Your First Draft.
I might have to acquisition that.
Yes, it is at the. Actually, you'll be able to purchase a copy. It's also on sale, hard copy, at the AfriSoul Marketplace at the Grassroots Bookstore, where we'll be doing a reading this weekend.
Okay.
So you'll be able to purchase a copy there.
Awesome.
As well. So, that's what I'm doing now. So now I'm, just looking to, be my own boss, to be my own man, control my own destiny, by having total control of my own content, and delivering the messages that I feel will feed the community and the world at large. Because our mission is to return the world to the good condition, right?
Yes.
So this is just my effort, to do so.
Yeah, and I commend you for that, and I am blessed to be a part of that. And I'm going to just continue. I don't know, you just, again, talking to you just reignites a spark in me because honestly, I really had no idea where I was going to take this new part of my life journey. You know, being a nurse practitioner, nurse educator. You did all the things, got the degree. I'm finishing the doctorate in nursing practice now. And that's almost done. And I'm like, okay, where are you taking this? So listening to you and having the conversations we've had sparks that creative part of my right side of my brain that I don't I didn't use, or let's put it this way, I suppressed it to do the logical thing that that society says that you're supposed to do because you're supposed to be a functioning part of society, blah blah blah, all that good jazz, right? So you got to put that right. You got to be a professional. So I did and am doing that professional piece, but there's so much more that I want to do with it and bring it out to the community and share with the community. And as I said, there's so many parts to all of us. There's so many layers to us all, and I'm just finding out for myself that there are other parts of me that I put aside to raise the family and build a career, but it's like now let me use it in a different way. I'm not discounting it, right? But
it has its value.
It has its value, but now I want to showcase a different part of who I am, and bring that creative part of me that I wasn't able to bring to fruition early on in my years. Right? So for that, I appreciate meeting you and building, because I always think that relationships that when I connect to people, they're no longer just passing acquaintances, especially when I find a common thread and I mean, forget it. We're just friends. We're lifelong friends. Tell Tiffany she's just,
Absolutely.
Right?
I love it.
We're friends. Tell Tiffany that she's just going to have to set another place for 2 more people because my husband and I are coming over and we're just going to hang. That's how that works for me.
Yeah. I feel you. I feel you. I feel you.
You guys out there listening don't understand how hard relationships like that are to come by, and when you find people that you resonate with like that, you just continue to build those relationships, especially later on in life like we are. I mean, you're what, 48, I'm 45. You don't build relationships like that, and when you can connect with people instantaneously like that and it feels like you're talking to an old friend, that's valuable.
That's special.
Right.
That's truly special. And there's a cosmic connection there. That's something that I'm exploring now.
Mm-hmm.
There's a cosmic connection, and I always treasure it, because like you said, we don't come across these types of, I meet hundreds of people all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But very few are what I call those that prick my soul or prick my spirit in a positive way, and that's what you've done.
Well, thank you.
So, cosmic connection. So, yeah, we're friends.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm like I said, I'm going to get that book. I'm going to support. our neighborhood black and brown store, and I'm buying it from the store, not from Amazon, because I think I give Amazon enough of my money.
Same here. Same here.
So
I'm creating my own Amazon, hopefully.
hopefully, please let me know because I am really tired of giving Amazon my money. So I am going to get that because there is a part of my husband that I would love to bring out more. He is such a creative soul, and when you mentioned your book, it instantly brought to mind that I'm going to get that for him because he has an amazing story to tell, and he just needs to get it out there. So I keep trying to encourage that creative part of him as well. And I think that will be a great start to doing that. So I'm glad you mentioned your book, honestly.
Oh, well, absolutely. And I wrote it for people like him, um, who are even trying to figure out if this is something that they even want to do. So I put that out there pretty fairly early in the book. And it's only about 25 pages, and I have samples and things like that, so it'll help them on this journey.
No.
But I immediately go into the person's mind and spirit and let them know. Yes, writing is fun. It's cleansing. It's all of that good stuff. But if you want to do this, you have to really decide that this is what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a process. You're not going to just sit down and write a script.
No.
Because if you think you're going to give that to a producer, he's going to throw it right out the window, if not hit you in the head with it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it won't be any good. Trust.
Mm-hmm.
And I let the person know right off the bat when you read the first few pages, you get that message. Because I take this seriously, so I want, it's a craft, but I want people to, if you're going to really do it, so yeah, continue to encourage them. But it's an endeavor that requires work.
Mm-hmm.
I take you through my actual process of how I create a script and what worked for me for 20 years, to be able to turn a product around pretty quickly. But the process itself is not instantaneous at all. You don't. And I think that's what intimidates a lot of people, because once they explore it a little bit, they realize it's harder than what they thought, and then they're like, I don't want, I don't, do
Mm-hmm.
it, explore it.
Yeah.
It's a process, and my favorite part of it is the outline or the treatment process, where everything you see written in script form is not like that in the treatment. It's actually written in narrative, almost like a book.
Mm.
And that's when you really get to tell the story. That's when you really get to see how everything is laid out before you even write a script. Then I suggest software and, provide samples. So it's definitely for someone like your husband.
Yeah.
Those still seeking, and for those who have an idea, just don't know how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I also do offer consultation services as well. I do have a client that I just finished a third draft on his screenplay,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll be producing his film. He wants me to direct it and produce it as well.
Nice.
I told him he just needs to come with the budget. You just come with the budget, brother.
Right.
We'll do whatever you want. It's yours. You paid me for the screenplay. Thank you very much.
Right.
And, you want this? You come with the budget. I'll get the crew together, and we'll make a fantastic film. So I'm about that too. I want to be a resource. I'm a resource.
Yeah.
I want to help. That's what I'm here for. To connect, to help, and to build, stand. So that's why I created my podcast. That's why I created my production company. That's why I'm creating this TV channel. Mm-hmm. I want to be a resource, not only for myself, but for the community, but for those who are seeking, my people in particular, but for all who are seeking. I think that's what I was put here for.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm saying the universe brought us together for a reason. For a reason.
Absolutely.
And you know what? I'm just going to keep going with that, and we're going to keep building with that. And I don't want to keep you too much longer, because you know what, I can really keep talking to you and keep talking to you. Um, because again, when you got that energy, it keeps going and keeps going. But I do plan on having you back, and hopefully with Tiffany, um, because that's another part of the creative piece that I think the community would love to hear on, because you talked about the hardships and maintaining a relationship and family and the struggles of that, and yet you're still married to this day. That speaks volumes. That speaks volumes. And I'm not going to go into it this time, because that'll be another hour and a half conversation.
Certainly will.
That definitely will be another hour and a half conversation. So we will set aside some time, probably after, or even in between, depending on how your time works, and if you and Tiffany have time. We'll definitely set time and, talk about that piece, because I think that's valuable. It's not seen too much in our Black and Brown community. And you know what? I'm just going to put it out there, in communities as all colors, right?
True.
Because relationships don't, no one puts the time in anymore, and the work,
Yeah.
and the work into relationships and building.
Say that again.
Yeah, right. No one puts the time and work in. It's work. And even for me, my husband and I have only been married. It'll be 5 years in June. And
youngsters,
right,
youngsters.
right. And I've been in a 12, 14-year relationship before him that was volatile. So, you know, it's work. That relationship was work, and then having a healthy relationship is work.
Yep.
Right?
It's a without belaboring, the point. It is. I I'll put it this way: we've had to come to the point to where, and you know what it does? It helps you become one.
Mm.
And it's selfishness is I think one of the biggest reasons why a lot of relationships fail is, especially us as men, and even some women, we don't know how to really just be honest and be vulnerable, and allow yourself to feel the emotions that you need to feel. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I cried over this woman. How many times we yelled and screamed and argued and fought and even separated, within ourselves, from each other, in certain ways. But, it is where people don't understand love. Love is a decision. It's not an emotion. When you leave it to emotions fade.
Yes.
There are times that you're in and out of love with this person. There are times I'm at super, super highs with her and then super, super lows.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, that's the woman I chose to marry. And so I don't get to just walk away. You know what I'm saying? Like I made it's my moral character. It's, hey, man, you want to fight for this. You know what I'm saying? And fighting for it and seeing how long we're going. It's 27 years total together, 23 married. We see like, wow, we're outlasting so many other people.
Yes.
And, and the pride that we see and how our children handle their relationships, my daughter's been with, they may not be legally married, which is fine. It's their choice. Mm-hmm. But they have been together since they were in high school. And now they're both going to be 27 this year and still raising their daughter. And she's the happiest, healthiest child. And So my daughter was the one to have a bunch of boyfriends and in and out of different days. They value longevity because that's what they've seen.
Right.
My son, the same thing. He's been with his girlfriend for 7, 8 years now, since high school. And they're even sticking to it like me and their mom did when I went away to school and left them here brand new to a state by themselves for almost 6 months. While I was finishing school, he didn't put his relationship in front of his goals, and that takes communication, that takes understanding. He basically told her, hey, I'm going to school, study to be a doctor, and that means I'm going away.
Right.
So if you want to hang, it's up to you. Yeah, it's up north. He goes to NAU.
Okay.
And
my husband goes to NAU.
Oh,
yep.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Check that out. And my boy's studying, getting his degree in biology and then moving on to study medicine. But just the value that he puts in himself speaks volumes. And I know that's because me and his mama been crying and fought.
Yes.
And scratched our heads and wonder how we was going to feed these little people. And, and I'm sitting up in the middle of the night freezing my butt off while they're in the bed sleep, in my security guard uniform, cursing life, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, when I look at her, and we look at each other, all we can do is smile and say that, yeah, it's a heck of a journey. And it's not, and we both know it's not peaches and cream. It's not all peaches and cream, and it's not mentioned. I heard a saying that marriage is supposed to grow you. That's the purpose of marriage, is to grow, is for you to grow as a man and as a woman.
Yeah, I can see
That's the purpose. That's the cosmic design of marriage. The world puts the ring and the paperwork and all of that on you. But, spirit, when male and female unite and make a decision that that's who you're going to be with, man, you stick with that decision.
Right.
And you want to see what's going to pan out. If you walk away, you never know.
Right.
What could happen. When you rather stick it out, you know what I'm saying, fight through it, fight for it, see the beauty in it. You know what I'm saying? If we're not beating each other up and hurting each other, that's different. We never got that far. It's never physical. It's all emotion and just, trying to figure each other out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Learning how to give each other space to grow. And this, 23 years is not an eternity, but it's enough to learn a few things. And
Absolutely.
We still have a long way to go. And, I'm not going anywhere. She's not going anywhere. I'm almost 50. Where am I going? What do I need to learn that, I'm not supposed to learn from being with her or with my relationship with spirit that I'm going to learn anyway.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it ain't about, being with a bunch of women and being in and out of relationships and this you wasting your time. It's about how can being with this one person show me how to grow.
Yes.
To be the best version of myself. And that's what's happening. And it's happening for her too. She still has things to work out. She's still shy and she's still, working certain things out. But that's her journey. I don't judge her on her journey. That's her journey. You know what I'm saying? Our marriage, we together, but we're like pillars, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do my thing, you do your thing as far as how our journeys are. So we try not to judge each other. Right. Not growing, and we just communicate. You have to communicate. Brothers, you have to talk to your woman. You have to. That's how they operate. So in order to unite it, don't fight it. Don't be angry with it. Don't be mad. No, you say, okay, this is what it's going to make things better. I have to learn how to better communicate. Because if you don't, things get lost in translation. Her emotions go all over the place. She's thinking one thing or another, and when it may not be, but because no one communicated, all of this confusion happens. So you work, you know, through that where any and everything you go through, it has to be a conversation.
Yes.
And it's a constant, even what I do, to even get to this point to where I feel free enough to really pursue my thing, that's consistent conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, look, I'm doing this, my goals, my plan. And then what solidifies it is results. I'm meeting people, this is happening. And now, because I took the steps that I was afraid to take years ago to be my own man, here I am now, where she's looking at me like, aren't you supposed to be doing something? So why are you wasting time up here with me? So, and that's beautiful. I was like, oh, okay, all right. So that lets me know I was doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I'm watching her and helping her along her journey and help. So she's trying to figure things out. So being on even something like this, she would be nervous to even, talk about it. So I'm just telling you, not that she would,
mm-hmm.
but she's still in that journey of figuring things out for herself, where she'll be confident enough to actually, to speak. But I'll talk to her for sure because people tell me all the time her input is so valuable.
It really is. It really is.
So she just needs to find her voice
mm-hmm.
and be able to articulate her truth in the same manner. And like I said, I don't judge her. No. That's why I love her, because I'm not here to judge. Hey, I'm just your husband.
Right. Well,
I'm just playing a role.
You can share with her, and this is totally being transparent. This person that I am today, I was never this person. I was that shy person in the back of the room. I was always the only black person in my class, so I never said a word. Going through school, all my teachers would say, she's a good student, but she doesn't say anything. She doesn't talk. So they never knew if I could even speak. So what is before you, even starting this podcast, I'm telling you, this podcast has been on my soul for so many years since I started listening to podcasts. And I'm like, I can say that, but I'm like, no, I can't. Who wants to hear that? Who cares about what I have to say? And I just said, right? And I just said to myself, I'm just going to go out there and do it. If I get one person to listen, that is 1,000 people to me. And so I just keep going and keep going and keep going. And it's just mind-boggling on how far I've come, honest and truly.
That's beautiful.
And
beautiful.
I say that because from how you describe Tiffany, I feel like I was Tiffany. I was that shy individual that didn't believe in what I had to say, and what I had to say had any value to anyone. So I totally get where she is, and I hope that she will agree to have at least a conversation with me. And it's just one of those things. If she's willing to, I'm cool. If not, I totally understand, because I've been there.
I'll definitely talk to her. She's so powerful. She's so beautiful. She's so strong.
Mm-hmm.
I love her so much. So I know I'll definitely talk to her.
Yeah, and it can be just. It's not. It's just us. This is what it is. I always say I could only show up and be me. It can't be anything else.
That's it.
I can only show up and be me. And I've been so many other people for so long. It feels amazing to just be me.
Yes, it does.
So again, I thank you, and I look forward to our next conversation. I would definitely see you on tomorrow.
Absolutely.
But yeah,
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having
definitely. You're welcome. You're welcome. And we will definitely set aside a time. Oh my gosh, we set aside so much time. It was just we continued our conversation outside of this. So yes, and you guys got a glimpse of a little bit of our conversation because as you heard, we kind of trailed off on a tangent a couple of times and talked about business and things like that. So, which for me, for the authenticity of the podcast and what I'm putting out there, I don't mind that because it shows into the creative mind of each individual that I have on the show and the person that I am. So welcome into my mind as I build and continue to build and build upon this podcast and things in the world that I'm doing outside. So thank you so much for being a part of the Soul Tribe. Thank you, Jermaine, for coming on and sharing your story. And I look forward to having both you and Tiffany on in the future, should she agree to join us. And also just putting good edutainment, as you said, right? Edutainment out there because we need that. And we have some people that are doing that, but you know what? I would love to be on that bandwagon, and I appreciate you for inviting me to be a part of what you are creating. And I hope to be a part of other projects in the near future. And that can be on and off the stage. I'm all for it because you know what? Like I said, you are my brother, you are my friend, and that's what we do. So we got this. So with that, I'm going to say thank you, thank you, thank you again for being a part. Thank you for you guys out there for joining us on our conversation. And I look forward so much to hearing feedback from everyone about the episodes. So with that, you can reach me at DC The Soulful Eclectic. That's my email. You can reach me on Facebook, DC Soulful Eclectic, and also Instagram. I am the.soulfuleclectic.com, or excuse me, there's no .com with Instagram, but definitely let us know because there's so much creativity out there, so much that we are all doing to lift our community. I would love to hear back from the community. So send in love and light your way and look into each other, look on each other, look into yourself, take care of yourself. Self care is not selfish. And I challenge you to take care of yourself before you keep pouring into others. So, with that, I say namaste. Thank you.